this is another video and it's called The Breakdown. Okay, so certain families are going to have to live with their actions for abusing children, for not supporting them, for not helping them, and a lot of people are going to feel the wrath of God because they chose to disobey Him. You think because God has given you something, it's yours, but truly mistaken. He has given you life and everything with it for a certain amount of time. There is nothing that belongs to you unless you make something without asking for any help. We're asking for any help on making it. Okay, so the destruction will come to these families first before it hits America in general. Now, there will be a warning before destruction happens. God is fearing His children so they can break generational curses, so they can break generational bonds and patterns of the world. Now, children, I'm talking to you. You will have to face the world, which is problems, poverty, parenthood, the demons, the devils himself. But you will be protected if you keep your guard up. This might feel a little bit or a little like you're losing. This is because some of you are taking baby steps, just starting out. Now, y'all adults, y'all know you did something wrong by your kids. Hold on. When they can't even say or remember most of their childhood. You know you did something wrong by your children when they can't say I love you without it sounding weird. You know you messed up with your children when you can't congratulate them for what they're accomplishing or for what they do. Some of y'all are sick in the head and need to be hospitalized. So putting your children in a court system is the best option for you. Some of y'all are responding to your children like you're best friends with them. Whatever the case may be, your child grow through the experience of life. You can't put your child out and then respect, love, and you can't put your child out and then want love and respect from them. You can't mistreat them for years then expect them to walk with the devil. Expect them not to walk with the devil. Hold on. Okay, the way the devil are winning is because you're quick to give up on your child. You're quick to throw them away like you do your relationships. So children, be on the streets is the best option for y'all because God wants you to be set apart so He can show you what to do. Some of y'all might say that it's harsh but He will provide for you shelter, nourishment, and to help you grow like a parent should. Just doing your own thing because the people you're around are stuck living in the moments of what they once had. So everyone will get their fruits that they have sown. And then before I read the Quran and the scriptures and before I give y'all scriptures, I want to break it down. See, a lot of people think that it's okay to treat their children whatever because is that they're up under their household or they came from their vagina, or they came from their sperm, they came from their atoms, and they came from their elements, and they came from their stomach, and they was raised like this, so they're gonna get raised like this too. And a lot of y'all are mistaken because a lot of y'all have put generational trauma, and y'all have put generational trauma on kids because you never actually told your parents that you got raped. You never told your parents that you snuck out and you got drunk, and you're not that good or not that such a purified or holy child. You never told your parents, you never considered anybody else when you was a child. So you're thinking that everything has to be your way, everything has to be done your way, it has to be done perfect, it has to be done righteous. You know, you probably never played sports and you probably ate a lot. You probably didn't go out for a very long time when you was in teenhood, childhood, parenthood, whatever. And you're trying to put this on your children, you're trying to put this on your teens, you're trying to put this on your young adults. Your young adults have to grow through their own experience. They have a whole different perspective. Just because they have DNA, just because they set elements with you, just because they have the same cells as you, that does not mean they have the same brain like you. That does not mean you get to treat them whatever, you don't get to say whatever, you get to do whatever, you get to feel whatever, you get to act however, because however, God's punishment is still going to come on you before it comes on that child. Because the child is just experiencing life. Now, you have experiencing life for some time. Maybe you're 40, maybe you're 30, maybe you're 20, whatever the case may be, and you're raising a child, and this is your first time raising a child, but you treat them with respect, you treat them with a little amount of I'm going to care for you about what you're feeling, about what you're thinking, about what you're acting as. Because if you don't care about your child as far as what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what they're acting like, you are going to raise a beast. You're going to raise a demon. You're going to raise a gent. You're going to raise the worst person that you can possibly think of, and that child is not going to be mentally okay. It's not going to be physically okay, and most of all, you want to make an environment safe for them so they can grow up and they can know what love feels like, what they can know what compassion feels like, they can know what trust feels like. A lot of y'all like to put y'all kids out and just think that the court system, that they're supposed to give them everything that they're needing, and they're supposed to give them everything that they're wanting. But really, the court system don't care nothing about your children. That's exactly what the government wants you to do. He wants you to rely on him for food, water, necessities, shelter, for all types of stuff, for protection, for every single thing that you could think of. And that's not the case, because we can do all of these things. The reason why you go in South Africa, you go in South Asia, you go in Australia, you go in different places, and they got their own land, they got their own houses, because they made it. They made their own rules for their households. They made their own land for their households. They made their own buildings, bricks, brick by brick. They built those houses. Brick by brick, they built those buildings. Those big manufacturing structures you see, they built it. They made those clothing. The businesses you see, they made the cotton. They made that stuff. They made every single thing that you see. So if you come back and now you look at America, now you look at the parenting skills, they give you everything. So you thinking that your child is just going to go up into the court system and they're going to be okay, they're going to be fine. No, they're going to be acting needy. They're going to be acting greedy. They're going to be against you because you didn't raise them, because you didn't love them, you didn't respect them, you didn't listen to them when they were going through problems that nobody else could understand. You wasn't there for them, helping them achieve different things, and you was most definitely not there helping them in the time that they were struggling. They're going to remember that in the dark periods. They're going to remember that in the seasons that they go through and that they can't figure out exactly everything of why they went through it, or everything of why they're going through it, if they're still going through, or why it's happening, if there's is it still happening. They're just going to remember that who wasn't there for them. So when you're doing this, you got to realize that people, on the other hand, are going to look at you crazy, because first of all, well, people are going to look at you crazy. It doesn't matter, because if they're going to look at you crazy for doing the right thing, and they're also going to look at you crazy for doing the wrong thing. But they're most definitely going to admit that something is suspicious about your household, something is suspicious about your child's relationship, and y'all, how you coach or how you parent, okay? And people want to realize that from all over. It's not just going to be like your friends or the people that you relative to, close and connected to. It's going to be way more people than you imagine. Okay, so first, you don't want the public to be in your private conversations of you and what's going on in your household, because you don't want the public to destroy your relationship already than what it already is or what already was. Okay, so you want to keep your business into your household and to keep their business into their household, whatever they do for their children. And that's why it's so critical for people to go on Instagram, to go on these social media apps, to go on these places and tell about how they raise their kids, and tell about how they do this, tell about how they do that, because certain things don't work for certain people. And it could be because you're a loving parent, and because your child is very disrespectful, your child is very arrogant, your child is very selfish. But that's a version of you, let's face it, that's a version of you that you're not ready to face. That's a version of you that you haven't healed from. That's a version of you that's still growing, that's still learning. So if you think about it like the child is just being so disruptive, just so detrimental, you also got to think about it like this: when was you detrimental? Was it that age, or was it before that age, or was it after that age? Because sometimes they mature fast, sometimes they have attitude before, like, probably before 11 years old. Sometimes they grow up very, very fast, they mature very fast, they have different friends and different friend groups that tell them about things. So you also have to be monitoring. You have to be monitoring them, not as far as being over them and telling them everything, what to do, how to do it, when to do it, what to do it. but you need to be monitoring them as their friendships, okay? The people that they hang around. You don't want your child to one day end up telling you that, okay, hey, something happened to me at school, or something happened to me in these classes, something happened to me when I was at my friend's house, something happened to me when I was going to this place, to that place, in the third. You don't want your child to tell you that out of the blue. You should already have some type of discernment when it comes to different people and when it comes to different situations in your life, or in y'all's life. Okay, I should say that. Now, let's talk about trauma and how y'all not facing trauma and how the black people carry trauma around. Because this is, black people, I'm talking about all the people that's not Caucasian, all the people that's not white. But the people that's white and the people that's Caucasian, y'all be facing some stuff too, so sit down. Anyways, so the first thing is, a lot of people think that the white man was supposed to raise us, okay? The white man was supposed to raise us, the Caucasian man is supposed to raise us, because the Caucasian man sat upon America and said, okay, now you have to buy the land, now you have to, all the things that God gave, necessities, for free. He was like, no, we're going to put a price tag on it, and we're going to double the price. Every time you think that you have enough money to buy something, we're going to double the price. We're going to keep doubling the price until you die. So that's the generational curse right there. So everything that you're doing to your children, it has a price, but times two. So think about it like that. It has a price, but times two. So you smack them in the face for not doing anything. It has a price to it, times two. You yell at them for not doing anything. It has a price, times two. So this is where the fruits and the reaping and the sowing comes from. Because if you're always being negative to your parents, you always being negative to your children, then your children are always going to be negative to y'all. Okay, because think about it like this. Whatever you put inside of their child is technically what you get, is the outcome, because they're just a reflection of you. Now, when I'm saying like how this stuff passed down from generations and how did the cycle go on and go on for, because everybody thinks that they're supposed to get government aid, they're supposed to get some type of presidential assistance, they're supposed to get some government checks, they're supposed to get some land, they're supposed to get some money, they're supposed to get some this, they're supposed to get some that, and everybody's so entitled, but nobody wants to actually go and make the money. Nobody actually wants to go and make the coins. Nobody actually wants to go and make the stocks. Nobody actually wants to go and think outside the box, make a new car for once, make an airplane car for once, make something that's out the box. So we expect everything to be hand given to us, and that's what your children expect. Your children expect the same thing you expect. You expect them to give you the Informer milk. The Informer milk is not real milk. It's not breast milk. It's from something totally different that you don't know. It's chemicals and chemicals and biomes that you don't even know what you're feeding into your child, but you're feeding into your child because you don't have time to breastfeed. Okay, cool. Now you're going to tell them, now you got to go to the daycare, now you got to go to the pre-care, now you got to go to the school, now you got to go to that school. They're being set up with a whole bunch of kids that they don't know for 6 to 7 hours, and they have to adapt to being with a whole bunch of kids that's different from them, being with a whole bunch of kids that don't like them, or some that do like them, but they have to adapt to the settings of it being loud. Sometimes it's going to be chaos, sometimes it's going to be fighting, sometimes going to get picked on, sometimes the teacher's going to like them, sometimes the teacher's not going to like them, so they have to adapt to the settings. Now this is preparing them for some years down the line, from like probably 8 to 9 years down the line, when they have to get their first job. When they have to get their first job is when they start to realize, dang, I've been living in a chaotic household, a chaotic school, chaotic places all my life, so it's really nothing to work in chaotic places and chaotic fields. So let's go ahead and get a restaurant job. Let's go ahead and get one of those small little jobs, because guess what? My mom always discussed that somebody else is supposed to help me. Somebody else is supposed to give towards me. Somebody else is supposed to support me. Somebody else is supposed to hand me down something. I'm not supposed to work for it. I'm not supposed to go get it. I'm not supposed to go chase it. But something's supposed to be handed down to me, because it's so-called bloodline, or some so-called the original plan in the first beginning of it. And that's what these kids think. Okay, so they think that they're supposed to be handed down things. Some of the kids, I'm not going to say all of them, because not all of the kids is like that. Not all of the kids have that type of mindset. Some kids, they really want to learn how to do things outside the box. They really want to have a relationship with their parents, a really good relationship, and they're trying to work on it. And like, again, of course, you already being seen, you already being heard, so you just keep on doing the things that you're doing. But these are the specific kids that, some kids, in one perspective, perspective, some kids are rich because they think that everything's supposed to be passed down from mother and everything's supposed to be passed down from father. And I have great grandparents that are super rich, and I have great uncles that are super rich, and great aunties that are super rich, and they're just gonna support me and take care of me for the rest of my life. I don't have to do anything. Okay, so we got some kids like that. Then we have other kids that's like, I want the government checks, I want to this, I want that, the president needs to do this, the Senate, the states, the boards, the council, the members, the this, the that, they need to do this for me and my child, they need to do this for me and my child. And that's what they think, and that's what you are going through. That's a slavery mentality that you are passing down to your children. You know, talking negative, like I'm saying, if you're not listening to them, if you're not getting the area of respect, if you're not understanding their feelings, you're not understanding their emotions. And I understand that sometimes you didn't have that as a child. You didn't have nobody to understand your emotions, to sit you down and to talk to you, to sit you into different academic classes, or to sit you into different sports classes, and to do different things with you, or to spend time with you, like the more time that you want. Maybe you wanted jewels and rubies and pearls and nobody can buy it for you. Maybe you wanted a pony and nobody can give it for you. Maybe you wanted like a whole bunch of money and nobody can give it for you. Or maybe you just wanted like a support system and nobody could give it to you. But you cannot put this on somebody else. You cannot bully your children because you think that they are not going to get the same thing. You think that, you know, that you're better than them. You're not in competition with your children. Your children is not a competitor. Your children is not something that you sit here and you play with their lives now. You do not want to control their destiny. You don't want to control their lives. When they get to a certain point, okay, specifically when they get to teenage, because teenage is when they make most decisions as far as driving, as far as going around, as far as getting around town, as far as doing all these different other things, right? So that's when you just give them leverage, okay? You give them their privacy, you give them boundaries, you give them respect, you give them leverage. Now, if you're not teen, if you're small, if you're a preteen, if you're a baby, if you're a kid, of course you have to be monitoring, and of course you have to be very soft and gentle when you're talking to the kids. I'm not saying soft parenting is the best parenting, but it's not the worst parenting. Sometimes your kids don't need to be yelled at and beaten, especially when you know the whoopings ain't doing nothing for them. Especially when you know the timeouts ain't doing nothing for them. Sending them to their grandma's house, send them to their grandpa's house is not doing nothing for them, because they come back with the same nasty attitude. They do the same stupid things. They might say the same stupid things. They might, you know, and this is from the perspective of what you're saying, okay? It's not from the perspective I'm calling anybody stupid or anybody dumb, okay? Now, I'm not saying anything or trying to be offensive, okay? But I'm saying that this whole system was created for you to run to him, for you to run towards the elites, for you to run towards the high authority of these world leaders, for you to run for them, for you to look for them as far as supporting you. So as far as being your baby father, when your baby father, when most of the baby fathers in the Black society left, okay? That's most societies, okay? They left. And it's hard because, of course, you can't raise a child alone. I get it. It's hard. Of course, you can't you can't properly even work on yourself, and you can't properly do anything when you have a kid that's going 24/7, 30. You know, you just can't do too much with a child. I do understand that. I do understand that. And I do understand it takes two parents. And I do understand that the people that's here, they should work out something. But it takes a community to raise a kid, okay? It doesn't just take one mother. It doesn't just take a father. It also takes a community, okay? And that's facts. And that's also a saying that Black people say. So I'm gonna get back to it because I'll be going off on the topic. I don't want to go off on topic this time. Okay, so I think I said I was gonna put the evidence in them, but I'm gonna just go back to the top part. I'm just gonna go back to the top part. Certain families are going to have to live with their actions for abusing their children. Okay, so if you're abusing your children, of course, do not take your anger out on your children. Do not take, if you're happy, okay, cool. If you're, angry, do not take your frustration out on your children. If they didn't do nothing to you, if they didn't do nothing wrong, do not take your frustration out. You have to figure out a different way, okay? And that's just the truth. You have to figure out a different way. Anger is not going to lead you to getting a solution. It's not going to lead you to making a problem smaller. It's not going to lead you to making a problem go away or disappear. It's going to make a bigger mess, and it's going to make a different problem that you're going to have to deal with for majority of the time that you're with your child. So just no, okay? You got to figure out something different way. You got to figure out whatever way that works for you, whatever the way that cools you down, whatever way that cools your child down. So y'all can come back and y'all can talk, like connection with one another. If y'all connect and do through games, like if y'all do board games or if y'all do video games together, do more video games, do more board games, do more walks, do more therapy sessions. Ooh. Do more of those things, because whatever you do, I'm telling you, it's going to be held against you on the day of judgment, and the day of judgment's here. So with that being said, I'm going to go back into it. Certain families are going to have to live with their actions for abusing their children, for not supporting them, for not helping them. A lot of people are going to feel the wrath of God because they chose to disobey him. You think because God has given you something, it's yours, but truly you are mistaken. I meant to say you are mistaken. He has given you life and everything with it for a certain amount of time. There is nothing that belongs to you unless you make something without asking for anything while making it. So the destruction will come to these families first before it hits America in general. So as you always know, I always like to talk about America and how everybody's going to get whooped and how everything is falling down and apart right now, okay? But specifically, these families that are abusing these children, I'm telling you, these are the children that has been captive, that God wants to use that they have gifts that they don't know. They have an identity that they don't know. They have a destiny that they don't know of. They have different things and different traits about them that they don't know of. So children, and I'm talking to you, you have to be apart from the rest of your family. You have to be apart from the rest of your friends. You got to be apart from the rest of the people that you think that's your group or think that's your homies, your clique, your gang, your whatever. Because if you don't be apart from them, you are going to lead into destruction just like them. And it's just going to keep spreading, and it's going to keep spreading into the next generation, and it's just not going to stop. So God is trying to stop it with you. That's why you're the generational curse breaker. That's why you're the generational bond healer. That's why you're the generational people person, because you have to break those cycles. And once it's hard to break those cycles because first of all, you never know what you're doing. You never know what you're up against. Of course, there's spiritual warfare out here. There's actual demons and vampires out here, and there's people that should try you, that suck all your energy out of you, that do things purposely because they know that you're trying to heal, that you know that you're trying to become a better person. But you keep doing you, okay? You keep doing you. You keep pushing for it. You keep working. You keep trying. You keep giving your best. You keep trying your best for whatever you do, for whatever you're good at. Keep learning your skills. Keep learning your talents for whatever. Like if y'all like to go camping, if y'all like to go fishing, golfing, hiking, do things that's fun. Go explore some hobbies. Go explore some things besides, just working or getting out, having fun time, of course. And just keep going, because of course life is sometimes depressing, okay? Especially when you have to keep doing the same routine over and over and you don't do anything else. So that's pretty depressing. But God is calling you to something higher. God is calling you to something that is going to benefit your generation, and that's going to lead you down a wealth path. It's going to lead you down to restoring your health, to restoring your family, to restoring your friendship, to restoring your trust. He's going to be the actual parent in your life because he is the actual guardian of your life. He is your father, and he wants you to treat him as that. But it comes with respect also. So if you do not give him no respect, you don't pay him no mind, you don't give his signs no mind, he gives you warning, don't do this, he gives you intuition, don't do this, don't do that, and you continue to go down these wrong paths, you continue not to repent, you continue to do the sins, you continue to wash your hands and act like nothing happened, you continue to do whatever you want, think whatever you want, act however you want, and then that's going to be a problem because now he can't help you, okay? People that's homeless and people that have been struggling for a very long time. I mean, you can watch it on YouTube, you can watch it on any social media source. They be getting blessed overnight. Somebody come with $1 million and they'll just hand it to them. Somebody comes with $23,000, they'll hand it to them. Somebody comes with 2 cars, they'll hand it to them. Oh, you want this house? Oh, you want this place? Because God will meet you where you're at. God will meet you wherever you're at. If you're in the pits of the sewer, if you're up underground, if you're in a cave, okay? Like, think about it. If you're in a cave, now if you know what prophet I'm talking about, if you're in a cave, he will set apart every single thing to come find you. So it's not where you're at. It's really about what you're doing. It's not about, and what you believe in also. That's the main problem. That's the main factor. If you believe in other people, if you put your trust in men, if you put your trust in other people, you put your trust in women, you put your trust in this, you put your trust in money, you put your trust in, all these different sources, they can't help you. They can only look resourceful. They can only give you advice. They can only show you what they have done or what not to do. They can't help you. They cannot. I'm telling you right now, you can go towards anybody, any place, and they can only give you a certain amount of money. They can only give you a certain amount of advice. They can only give you a certain amount of time that you can stay in a hotel for free, or a time that you can stay in a motel for free, a time that you can, rent a car. Then you got to bring the car back, okay? So I'm telling you right now, if you're staying in the place that you're staying in, if you're believing in the place that you're believing, if you're working as hard as you could possibly work, if you're doing as much as you could possibly do, this is where God is supposed to intercede at. This is where God is going to intercede at, because he's never late. He's on time, okay? And he's a very direct guy. So he knows where you're at, and he knows how to get to you, and he knows what you think that he can't do and what you think that he can do, because he's able. So you have to start believing and start opening up your mind and saying that God is going to come for me. God is going to make a way for me. God is going to split the seas and cross, and I'm going to cross it. You're going to have to start thinking like Moses. He's going to split the seas, and I'm going to cross it. And I'm going to go into my promised land. I'm going to go into something that is better for me, not something that is meant for me, something that is direct for me. And if you don't think that, then it might take longer than expected. Like, God might say, okay, your hard time or your hard season was only supposed to be for 10 years, but because of your thought process, you made your actions bad, and now it lasted for 20 years. So on top of that 10 years, now you got 30 years to live in the pit of the den. Or now you got 30 years to live in what you call HE double hockey stick. So I'm saying this because I don't want you to self-destruct. Yeah. So when you self-destruct, you sabotage your own blessings. You sabotage your own thinking. Okay, you sabotage something that was willingly meant to help you, and that was a blessing from God, a miracle from God. Okay. So I did call some people some names. I do want to apologize. I was going too fast while I was talking. So, I don't mean to call nobody no names. I don't mean to say anything disrespectful, but the truth is the truth, and I have to let it out one way or the other. I'm going to go to the evidence. So, like I said, I was going to read the evidence, and this is from the Holy Quran. Of course, if you're not a believer, if you're not a Muslim, you don't have to be. Just sit down and listen. It says dominate. Okay, so yeah, that's the topic. So dominating the world is the topic. Okay, so it says in the Quran, this inviolable law will remain in force even when the great powers like Gog and Magog are let loose and come crashing down from every height and from the crest of every wave, and when they occupy every point of vantage, dominating the whole world, and when they excel and when they excel all other nations. Okay, so this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to dominate the whole world, and it starts from in the household. It starts from the small things, as you're not watching your children. You don't want to, make them noticeable, or you don't want to spend too much time from them. And this is something, and I'm talking to all of us as a whole. I'm not talking to specific people. I'm talking to all of us as a whole. This is something that this is something that happens from slavery. Of course, the black mother has to take care of the white children while she cooks, while she cleans, while she do the housework, while she do the chores, while she also pleases the white man. Okay, now this is also coming from the so now we have switched roles. So now, of course, the white man watches your children. Of course, you do your housework, you do your job, you come from home, you get them, okay, yada yada, yada, and etc. So this is how it all happens. This is how they all take control from, and this is how they all take power from over us. It's because they let you think that, or they trick you or deceive you into becoming your friends or becoming your people that you can rely on. Okay, I don't know if you call it associates, but just people that you can rely on. And this is how they trick you into giving your children up. And this is why so many children are that they're gone, they're missing. Why do you see so many children that are missing? Because you let somebody go, you let them go with somebody, you let them do something that they want to do, you let them, you don't want to watch them, you don't want to be with them, you want to spend some time alone. And I understand that you want to spend some time alone. I understand that you don't want to be with them every 5 seconds, especially when they can do things by themselves, of course. So I get that, but you also have to get where if you ain't got no Apple tag on them, if you ain't got no location on their phone, if you ain't got no Apple tag in their bag, and location on their phone really is really I don't think is reliable. Their phone can die, it can fall in the sewer, it could do something happen to their phone. Now what? Your kid is kidnapped. Now what? So you just gotta start thinking about things like that. Like, everything is not reliable because it looks reliable. Everything is not trustworthy because it looks trusting. And most definitely everything is not meant for everybody. Now, some advice, people are gonna say that I'm gonna take this how I take it, and of course you're gonna take the message how you receive it, and of course you're going to receive it and you're going to tell somebody about it. And I hope that you tell somebody about it in the right way, in the right words, and say the right things about it. But this is how everything starts to happen. That the president is doing that. They're hiding the children. They don't want to open the documents of what's going on. They're not doing any investigations because you're letting your children go into these different places and different facilities with different people that you don't know because you think that they're safe, or you think that you don't want to deal with them anymore, or you just don't want to talk to them, or you're upset, you're mad. You can't let emotions have a rule in the household that you're staying or that you're raising, for one. And if you don't have enough knowledge or enough skill settings to say that as a parent, then your children is going to be taken over. Your children is going to be, saying, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to be focusing on this. They're going to boss you around. If you don't have the dominance to, stand up for yourself and stand up for your child and to do things that they're going to do it their own selves, or they're just going to be gullible, and every single person that comes to them, they're just going to fall for the trap. You know what I'm saying? If it's, being kidnapped, fall for the trap. If it's whatever it is, they're going to fall for the trap. And I just really hate to say this because a lot of children are really smart, but they get downplayed by their parents. Of course, their parents say that you're not going to make it very long. You're not going to fulfill as much as you want to. You're not going to do as much as you want to, as much as you please. You'll never make it in that career. You'll never do this. You'll never be successful. You'll never do this. You'll never do that. And they believe that because they've been with their parents for 18 plus years, and now they have to abide by the rules because now the rules has been inside their heads for a very long time, and it's hard for them to change that mindset. It's hard for them to hear the younger self in them saying, well, we can still make it, we can still go, or to hearing their intuition saying, this is not the right way. They follow the crowd because they don't want to get beaten. They are scared of being ashamed. They're scared of being mocked at. They're scared of being laughed at. They're scared of being different. And this is all because the parents are torturing them. They're tormenting them mentally. So, with this being said, it's a lot to this because, making your children feel small so you can feel seen or you could feel heard is very disrespectful, not just to your child. And when you think about it, you have to think about it like this. I've watched literally, and you can watch if you watch like natural shows or like them little nature valley shows or something like that, or you go outside. I don't know if y'all, pay attention to the nature, but literally all the mother does that's okay, I was watching a bird show. Hey, well, let me say it like that because I want to be direct, really direct. I was watching a bird show. This bird show, she made the nest out of like, she just took some hay, she just took some grass, she just took a pieces of dirt, she just made the little hay. It was like in this little, it was like right next to the like mailbox or whatever, and she just made the hay and she just put all of the stuff in. She just put all the stuff in, and then she was like, okay, let me go find some worms, let me go find some ants, let me go find some stuff so I can feed my children. Okay, so boom. So she had the little egg. Of course, she covered the egg up, and then she put it with some more grass so none of the, I guess, the enemies or predators would, try to find the egg and try to eat it or try to steal the baby. Okay, so then she went out to find some food, to go get some more hay, to yada 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 yada. Excuse me. Yada 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 yada. And she came back, of course. The egg popped. Okay, cool. So the egg popped. Now the baby's out. Now she's feeding the baby. I guess they do, how they do mouth to mouth. They feed the baby. And then boom. Okay, so now the baby is cool. So, all your job is really to do, keep a roof over their head and make sure that they're going in the right path. And I think that parents, because they don't know this, is they really overplay their part. They tell them exactly what to do, how to do it, what to say. I'm telling you, your child get a certain age, it's over with. When they get to that teenage age, all you have to do is direct them from, haram things, which we call in Islam, which is bad things, okay? Protect them from the evilness. Protect them from, and show them what you did so they won't have to take those same paths, or show them how you were and they won't have to, you could just show them, you know what I'm saying? You could physically show them, take them to the club, like, look, this is the life that I used to live and I had to get away from it, you know what I'm saying? Take them out on the streets, take them where the homeless people, just have like an experiment time. This experiment time right now, because I used to be out on the streets, or I used to do this. I used to smoke. I used to sell drugs. I used to, be in different fields and different settings. And this is why it's not good for me. So what makes me think it's going to be good for you? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes your children are hard-headed and they don't listen. They don't, they don't mind that, disrespecting in a way. But most likely, if you have a conversation that's a actual parent to teen conversation, actual parent to preteen conversation, because I'm only talking for the preteens and the what's the name. If your child is very disrespectful at 5 and 6 years old, take that belt and you know what to do with it. But I'm talking about for the preteens and the teens, okay? Or young adults, or whatever you want to call them. And I'm talking to them because nobody understands them. They're very misunderstood. And I think that they're misunderstood because a whole generation has went by not being understood. Okay, so we have to escape this mindset where other people can raise our children. That's not that we haven't let God approve to raise our children. Children is still His, okay? And I do have to cut this video because it is getting too long. But I'm trying to overly say that the whole main point, or whole target I'm trying to say is you treat your children with love. And they're going to sow you with love. They're going to fulfill your cup with love. They're going to fill their children's cup with love. And it's going to pass down. You fill your children with wealth, and it's going to pass down. You could fill your children up with the words. If you study the Bible, or if you study the Quran, or whatever religion, you fill yourself up with God, and then your children will do the same thing. They will follow after you, but you have to do it first. And that's for most children. Now, some children, the court case needs to take them. Because sometimes we go all the way down the rabbit hole where we can't escape the real life, or we can't escape reality. And there's no other choice except for us to let go of our children, because we have failed as parents. Now, you could say whatever you want to say about this, because of course it's always just advice. You ain't got to take this advice. You ain't got to say nothing about it. You could just scroll past the video like it wasn't nothing. But if you do apply this advice, please conduct yourself in a mannerful way. And don't treat your children as if they're nothing. They're worthless. They're useless. They're a burden. Because you wouldn't want God to treat you like that. You wouldn't want God to look down on you and say, well, I'm disappointed, but that's normal. I'm frustrated at you, but that's normal. You always get on my nerves. Because he has to deal with you every single day. Okay? We gotta, because sometimes it don't click. Every single day. He created the time for you. He created the earth for you. He created your destiny for you, your identity for you. If you want a Jeep pink wagon, he created the Jeep pink wagon, the purple Ferrari, the pink Escalade. He created all of this, bro. And some of us don't even like to sit here with them for 5 seconds. Imagine how he feels as a parent. So he's dealing with us while you're dealing with your child. You don't see the connection? You connect with him. He connects with you. You connect with your child. Your child connects with their child. And the healing cycle begins. So, if you haven't said, what you were supposed to say or did have those memories in your head that you can't release them, I personally advise you to therapy classes, okay? I personally advise you to make some friends that's online and try to just trauma dump. Just every single thing that you have on your mind, every single thing that you had in your heart, every single thing that you've been through, just throw it out, let it out, get a diary, get a journal. It's just a lot of things. And I'm not saying this to be a smart mouth. I'm saying this to actually be helpful because, okay, we all have problems, okay? And problems that human beings or many men can't solve. So I want to tell you, first things first, do not trauma dump on your children. Because they don't know what you feel if you don't say nothing, for one. For two, they're just now, they're just now coming onto this earth. You've been on the earth longer than they have. So you will know the experience of what this life is, even though you don't really know the experience because you're not okay, for I'm not going to keep making videos, but you don't know what they're going through until you have a communication, until you have some type of relationship with them. Okay? So the first thing is go to God about your child. Ask him what to do. Ask him where to start. Ask him what to finish off at. And then ask him, what areas do I need to work on as a parent, as a father, or as a mother? Okay? And as always, I will see you shortly. And good morning, good evening, and good night. See ya.